Like, Rachel should never have got off the plane so out of breath. Yeah. Park the problematic bits just for 1 second.
Everybody that's planning to visit Thailand, this was one of my favourite activities that we've done.
Hello. This is a gorgeous look. I'm about to try and tangle tease this out, but I think that hair bubble is stuck, and yeah. I believe this is the first time that I'm actually talking in this vlog. I need to keep stopping because I'm getting so out of breath, but today is day 5 of testing positive with COVID, and oh boy, as someone who is triple jabbed, I'm triple jabbed and we've still been being careful. We lateral flow all the time, we still wear masks, we're still social distancing. I'm an introvert, I social distance anyway. I don't like people in general, but I've managed to contract the virus, and my god, I have been poorly. I've basically lived on the sofa since Saturday. Oh no, Friday night I think I went to the sofa because I started coughing. Touch wood, so far Tom has tested negative, but it's gone around my work, it's gone around his work, and and yeah, I've been feeling like shit. So I have finished some books though, so that's what I came on here to talk about. Let's start with the books that I really enjoyed, and the first of these is Bella Mackie's How to Kill Your Family. If you liked the kind of girl next door serial killer of Sweet Pea by CJ Scoose, I think you will love this one. I listened to this via Scribd. Not sponsored, but if you haven't tried Scribd, it's an audiobook subscription service and I love it. I used to use Audible where you got 1 book a month, but Scribd, for around the same price, you have access to this whole library. I have had people comment down below saying that you can also get audiobooks from your library, which is true, and I do use BorrowBox from my library. But I find a lot of the time on there, the popular books have got really long waiting lists, and Scribd has a much bigger catalogue. So it's been great for me. This week, Scribd has been an absolute lifesaver when I haven't felt like doing anything. I've literally just lay there listening to audiobooks. But yeah, How to Kill Your Family, I love this. There is going to be a second book, can't wait to read that. The thing that I love about this is we know straight from the beginning that our main character, I can't even think of her name already, Grace, I believe, has killed her family, and she's really annoyed that she's in prison because she's not been arrested for the murders that she did do. She's been arrested for one that she didn't do, and she thinks that's really unfair. And there was a lot of sarcasm in this book, a lot of my kind of humour, so I really enjoyed that. I then read a proof copy of We Had to Remove This Post by Hanna, I think it's Berveots, and I don't know when this is coming out. Does it say? I'm not sure exactly when this comes out. I'll put it on the screen here, But for such a short book, this packed such a punch. And this is it's not really plot driven, it's more character driven, and it is about our main character who works a job as an internet moderator. So obviously when you're on Instagram or whatever, you click report this post, and it's the people that watch things that have been reported to decide whether they should be allowed to stay on the internet or not. And like I say, I think this is somewhere between a 4.5, 5 star. There are a few little bits in it that I was uncomfortable with, and I wasn't sure how to feel. I mean, I was uncomfortable with the whole thing. This needs a trigger warning list longer than my arm, but I just, yeah, it made me feel really uncomfortable, but at the same time I really enjoyed it. And I think it really, sorry, I'm getting really out of breath. It really questioned how, when we look at mental health and things, we don't always think about the people that are doing jobs like this. And it made me think about like working in the NHS as well. Like, you see such horrendous things, and then you're kind of expected to put them in a box and carry on your daily life. And yeah, this was really cool. This also has brilliant LGBTQIA+ rep. I'm gonna go and have my bath now and then talk about the others, because I'm so out of breath. Yeah, I'll be back. It has been a few hours since you last saw me. Having to take some deep breaths because I've just walked upstairs, and those stairs are absolute killers with COVID. I feel like I've climbed a mountain, and the bath and hair wash, that felt like I did a triathlon. Oh boy, like, was it worth it to have clean hair? Yeah, it actually was. You might have seen from clips that it was so matted, so it's nice to have it. I do love my hair. Like, I generally spend 99% of the time living on dry shampoo, but when it's matted like that, dry shampoo is not going to help. So we were talking about books that I'd read, and then I've got, so we were talking about books that I read. I've got 2 more, and one that's just meh, and the other one that I need to have a bit of a rant about. So the first one that was just meh is Bookworm by Lucy Mangan. I'm going to pass this to the charity shop or to my various people that I offer books to. This was nice. I was drawn in by the cover. I think the cover's gorgeous, but I don't think it's a patch on Dear Reader by Kathy Wenson-Brink. And although I did really just love the way that she talked about the different worlds in it, I think if I'd have read this one before Dear Reader, I would have been like, yeah, this is brilliant. But it just didn't hold a torch to Dear Reader for me. And yeah, I really want to hang on to it because of the gorgeous cover, so we'll see. But that was that. And then, oh boy, this next one. Now, if you've been with my channel a long time, you will have seen when I read Eleanor and Park, I was like, what the crap is this? Why does everybody think that this book is amazing? And even a lot of my booktube friends had like read it years before and given it like 4 or 5 stars, and I was like, whoa, this book is so racist. And I think this is where we need to normalise changing opinions, because, sorry, let me just take a deep breath. Because had I read this book in 2016, although this was, I think it's 2019 release. Yeah, 2019. So again, I just think there's just no excuse for what I'm going to say about this book. I would have been like, yeah, I loved it. And okay, let's just park the problematic bits just for 1 second. The descriptions of Corfu in this, for someone who is travel starved, as I have been, who is going to Corfu, when you see this video, I think it'll be like 5 weeks on Sunday. It really did like scratch an itch in that sense. The descriptions of Corfu were beautiful. But diet culture. Oh, trans fats. I'm gluten free. Oh well, got the waiter to tell her that the bread was gluten free because she doesn't actually have an intolerance. Oh, this bread is so good. yeah, you know my feelings on that. And I just think in a 2019 book, I will forgive it for like older books, but new books that are getting written, I'm just like, why? And then to top it off, this is the kind of book, again, like with Eleanor and Park, where I think it's a white author that wants to be praised for being diverse but just gets it so wrong. There is a lesbian character in this, Heidi, and I mean, I didn't like her anyway, but she's just, as a bisexual woman myself, I would feel a little bit inexperienced to write a gay woman, but this just felt like this author had never met a gay person before. And then the icing on the cake was this like rant that another gay character goes on about how she doesn't want to be a flag waving lesbian, she's not into all that, and she's a she, not a they. And I was just like, whoa, turf, whoa. And I just thought, I'm sure there are lesbians out there that don't want to get involved in Pride and things like that, each to their own, but for the only gay character, one of the only two gay characters in a book written by a straight author, really didn't sit right with me. So I did actually DNF this, but it's a chunk, it's like 500 pages, and I'd read about 400 before I DNF'd it. So yeah, Mandy Bagger is not for me, and I think this one's just going to go into the recycling because I don't want it to go to a charity shop. I don't want someone else to pick it up. So that's the book update for now. I've just sat here before filming this clip for about 5 minutes and I still haven't fully got the breath back, but we're going to go with it. This is what happens to my hair when I put no products in it. It just, the amount of static electricity I'm giving off could probably power a small village, but it still feels much nicer than it felt when it was matted. So I'm on day 6, I think now, and still testing positive. I feel slightly more human in that the kind of cold and flu-y symptoms have gone, like my runny eyes, runny nose, temperature's gone, but the fatigue, now bear in mind I deal with fatigue anyway because of my chronic illnesses, is like nothing. I say nothing I've ever experienced before. It's still like when I had the flu. So I'll feel okay and then I'll walk upstairs to the toilet and you would think from the kind of breathlessness and panting that I'm doing that I've just run a marathon. But I have finished 2 books in the last 2 days. So the first one of these I'd been reading for far too long, and that is If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha. Now, I went into this one not really knowing what I was getting myself into. This is a very, very heavy character driven book, so if that's not your kind of thing, then I'd say to leave alone. There are content warnings for just a lot of stuff. Again, I will leave the database that I always leave below, but I would say that this goes into my kind of, how do I put it? My kind of selection of books like Louise O'Neill and just real, what's the word I'm looking for? Real kind of hard looks at women and women's lives. And this is set in Korea and in South Korea, and especially follows these 4 women who all essentially, their lives are entwined in some way, but all essentially have these completely different experiences. but the way that surgery is kind of not only normalised but encouraged really stood out to me. I did find this quite slow to get through, and it had really long chapters, which I'm the kind of person, I can't just stop in the middle of a chapter, so I like to have smaller chunks. But actually by the end of this book I found myself really loving it, and I think I settled on around a 4-star. It's one I think I'd like to read again now I know that what I'm going into. But yeah, I would definitely recommend that one. Don't know what else to say about it. And then a book that I have just this second finished. Victoria texted me earlier to ask how I was, and I was like, I'm currently sobbing at a book. And that is The Staycation by Cressida Mclaughlin. Now when I say sobbing, you know the kind of sobbing that you do when you watch a rom-com and you're like, you just want it so much for them, and something gets said or done and you're just like, no, just don't do this to me. That's what this book did. So essentially our main character Hester works at a travel agency, but she has a secret that people don't know, that she is unable to get on a flight due to her anxiety and past trauma. So when she is hired by this guy Jake's sister to cheer him up and book him a holiday, as they get talking he decides that that's not what he wants to do. So she has this plan to come up with staycations in the suite that he's staying. Now I love this. I think I've said before on this channel, and it's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, that I like being on holiday. I hate the travelling. I've never done long haul, don't think I ever could. I've never done like backpacking and things, and with all my illnesses it just would not be realistic for me. The anxiety it would cause, not knowing where toilets were, not knowing what this was, having to walk, having to carry bags, it just wouldn't be worth it for me. So I like living vicariously through other people, and that's what I felt like I was doing in this book. Beautiful story. The only thing I will say, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but I'm going to put a hand up now anyway, and when I get to the end I'll stop talking about this. It's a semi-spoiler, because I think everybody always knows in these books how it's going to end. The guy is going to get the girl. That's how it works in romance. And at the end, when she went with him, and then it kind of rectified it, and it was a little bit like when Rachel got off the plane. Like, Rachel should never have got off the plane, and I felt a little bit like this with this. But that said, one of the brilliant things about this book is that I finished it, and I want to know more about Jake and Hester. I want to see how their relationships blossomed, but I also want to know about Rosalie and I'd love a backstory for her, and I also want to know a backstory for Jake's sister. So I think this is why I like the Heidi Swain books so much. I like a world where all the characters, every even side character, isn't just there as a throwaway character. They're a real person and someone whose story I'd like to get to know. So that's coming in at like a 4.5 star, and I loved it. Even just that little bit of talking has got me breathless. So I'm going to leave the book mail until tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow. Good evening. I am starting to feel slightly better. I think I'm on day 7 now. I can't remember when I last filmed, but anyway, it is Friday evening, and I've gone from feeling like I had a flu to feeling now like I've got a cold. So I think COVID is on its way out. My fatigue levels, they've never really recovered from my appendix surgery, so I think it's going to be a slow recovery from this. But I just wanted to share with you that I have finished Reputation by Sarah Vaughan. This was sent to me as part of the Tandem Collective read along, and I'm not supposed to finish this till Sunday, but I could not put this down. Now I'm giving this a 4.5 star because there were just some little bits that didn't sit right, and there is a Harry Potter reference in this, which We all know my thoughts on that by now. They just don't need to be there. What can I tell you about this? I'm always really cautious about giving too much away because I just have so many thoughts about this one. But it says Emma Webster is a respectable MP. Emma Webster is a devoted mother. Emma Webster is innocent of the murder of a tabloid journalist. Emma Webster is a liar. Reputation, the story you tell about yourself and the lies others choose to believe. And this was just so good. I think it helped me that I do try and follow politics closely. It's been a bit hard recently. I've had too much mental health shit going on myself, and I know that I'm in a privileged position to be able to say that. But this really made me think of the way especially Labour female MPs are viewed, and this is about revenge porn, and I just thought that this was brilliantly done. Didn't want to put it down, and yeah, gave that 4.5 stars. So that is the end of this week's weekly vlog. Hopefully by next week you will see me feeling better. Hopefully, fingers crossed, negative test tomorrow. Me and Tom are supposed to be going to Oxford this weekend, and it's all rested on a negative test from me. So yeah, I think even if I have a negative test, I'm going to spend most of my time in the hotel, but it'll just be nice to get a change of scenery. And I'm looking forward to going back to work. I had literally been back at work a week after my surgery to then get this, so I feel like I haven't been there for most of the year so far. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this video, and until next time, look after yourselves. Bye.